Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Cozy Financial Planning. Back in my hoodie, back here to have a conversation and discuss financial planning for Canadians. One of the things I want to do, which is a series of financial planning 101, where I want to break down different segments of what I would consider financial planning and kind of go into detail about what they are, kind of the basics, and maybe add a few misconceptions or myths about them and how you can use them in your own financial planning. The first step, in my opinion, is to do with Registered Retirement Savings Plans, or RRSPs, or RRSPs as we sometimes refer to them quickly. And so let's get right into that. First things first, what exactly is an RRSP? It stands for Registered Retirement Savings Plans, as I said. It means the registered part means it's hooked up to the CRA because there's tax implications or like tax benefits for you. In that regard, it means that any money you put into your RRSP reduces your taxable income for the year you put it into. One neat thing about it is the first 60 days of the new year you can contribute and it bring down your tax payable for the previous year for 2024. So the first 60 days of 2025 when I'm recording this can be contributed to your RRSP and bring down your tax payable for 2024. In addition to that tax deductible, you also have tax-free investment growth. So the money inside your RRSP can be grown tax-free until you need to take it out. And there's a few caveats to that in regard to when you take it out. However, it grows tax-free. So it's pretty simple how it works. Now, anyone who has an earned income can open an RRSP. And the way it works is because there is a limit, so the government doesn't want you to shove all your money in there and do whatever you want with it and hide it from the government for tax purposes. They want to know, they give you a limit, is based off 18% of your previous year's income, or there's a set amount, there's a maximum amount for set out by the CRA. So for example, if you have $100,000 income in the previous year, you can contribute up to $18,000 into your RRSP. Now, that kind of gives you the basics. So the second part is, what can you hold in an RRSP? We'll keep this pretty simple because we'll go into some of this in a little detail. Is you can keep it in, other than just money, you can invest it. You can hold GICs, ETFs, mutual funds, stocks, and bonds. And there's a few other things out there that you can potentially use. I know of a lot of things I've seen come across my desk previously, which would be like real estate things or private equity. Like there's a few things that you can use RRSP money for or hold it in your RRSP, which was part 3. What I mentioned before was what happens about when you want to take it out. So first and foremost, we'll talk a little bit about taking it out early when it's still an RRSP and what that means. But right now is, generally speaking, is it's set for retirement. So in the year you turn 71, you have to you can contribute to the year you turn 71, and the year after you have to convert it into what's called a Registered Retirement Income Fund, or a RIF. And then you have to start taking minimums out. You have to start taking a minimum amount out, or whatever you need, right? But you can't, like, you have to start taking money out, and it can be a small amount if you have other ways to make money or have other income, or or you can take out more if you need it, right? So as I said, benefits of, like, what are kind of the key benefits of RRSPs? Main benefit is tax-free growth and the tax deduction, right? So you're deferring your taxes. So one key thing you can do is you can deposit money into your RRSP, and then if you think you're going to make more money and be in a higher tax bracket in the coming years, you can defer the actual tax deduction for then. So if you're making $50,000 and want to contribute, let's say $10,000 because you have the room, and you feel like you are going to make $100,000 the next year, or 70 or 80, and you want to use it then because you'll be in possibly a higher tax bracket and you'll get a higher deduction, you can do that. It's not for everyone, but it is information I think you should have just in case it comes across like it might be something you need to know, right? And again, if you don't contribute your full amount every year, your unused contribution room does roll over to indefinitely. So it continually builds up. So at one point, if you have a huge chunk of money that you have to pay taxes on, you can put it into your RRSPs or something, right? There are ways to borrow from your RRSP without tax implications. There's 2 programs. One is the First Time Homebuyers Plan, which is up to $60,000 can be removed to buy a home, and there's certain qualifications on the first time home buyers plan to be considered a first time home buyer. And then you have to start paying it back. You have 15 years to pay it back. There's a couple nuances to that. If anyone wants in the comments, I can go over more of that program. As well as the other program is a lifelong learning plan. You can use it for education planning. Once again, you can withdraw money tax-free. $10,000 per year is the maximum you can take out. You have up to 4 years. And the maximum you can take out over those 4 years, though, is $20,000. So it's not a huge amount, but it would give you a way to get a second career or anything like that if you have RSP money and you don't have another way to fund a second career, so to speak, right? Education to continue on. It could be for yourself or your spouse too, which is a nice little trick. Out there right now is one thing we can talk about, and now the part of the video is misconceptions or myths about RRSPs. I think there's a couple different things people just don't understand, which is kind of the reason why I want to make this video. People believe there's a penalty for using RRSP money, which technically it is true that they have withholding tax. However, if you kind of think of it in a different manner, and I'll kind of give you an example on what is happening and how best to utilize an RRSP in your life and financial planning, right? So you're getting a tax refund. You're reducing your taxable income when you make a contribution to your RRSP. If you make $100,000 a year and you contribute $10,000, technically you're telling the government, hey, I only made $90,000, so please only tax me on $90,000, not $10,000, right? And it could generate a tax refund. In that case, if you're a 30% tax bracket, you can get about $3,000 if you contribute $10,000. However, that is under the agreement that the RRSP is not to be touched until retirement. So we gave you this tax benefit. We're going to only charge you income tax on $90,000 instead of $100,000 income. So if you want to take out some of that money, we want the taxes back, right? The deal has been broken. The deal was you put the money in this special account for retirement. We will charge you less income tax on the income you made in the year you did it. And now you want to take that money out. Well, we kind of want our tax benefit back. That's the deal, right? It's not a RIF. It's just withdrawing RSPs. We can talk about how to utilize that better and what's better situated for that. But generally speaking is don't put all your extra money in RSP and use it as an emergency fund. It would be most beneficial to use something else. Now, again, most people think RSPs are only for retirement. As I mentioned, you can buy a first-time home buyer's plan and a lifelong learning plan or education. I personally believe that they're better off finding different avenues for that. This is my personal belief, only because an RSP is generally geared towards retirement, and you're borrowing money from it, yes, if you're stuck. However, you're borrowing money from your future retirement, so to speak, right? And there's a lot of different conversations we can have about that, but we'll leave it for another day, just on like the nuances of it. But that's my personal belief and a personal opinion. Now, another misconception is people think putting RSPs is enough. You really need to look at financial planning. If you have the ability, if you're only putting $5,000 in the RSP and you want $1 million in retirement and you don't have another way to do it, that's obviously probably not going to get you there. You need to financial plan, which a financial planning, funny enough, is backtracking, and you kind of look at what your goal is and how to get there, like what do you need to do, right? So even though you're doing RSP is a great habit to have, and I'll never say anything negative about someone having that habit, because habits are everything financial planning. But you just got to be careful with that. Now, people don't like being taxed when they withdraw money in retirement. You'll pay money in retirement, but proper planning should help reduce that. For example, earlier on, I said if you made $100,000, if you're in a $100,000 income, you put $10,000 in, and you're for some reason at a marginal tax rate of 30%, you'll generate a refund of about $3,000 as long as you don't owe any money. Roughly, general alley conversation. But in retirement, maybe you take that same $10,000 out, ignore any growth, but you're in a 20% tax bracket. You're only going to pay about $2,000 on that $10,000 withdrawal, and that's in retirement. So you have a spread of $1,000 you got back from the government, like you got an extra $1,000 while you're working, and you do it with. That's kind of one planning you can do. You can do different numbers, and there's a few other tips and tricks about that. what you're trying to do, and we're getting off topic, is build out a retirement paycheck, and RSPs is one thing. Definitely getting off topic. Just want to kind of go back to that. But the idea is, with proper planning, you're not going to take out that much tax. So my kind of final thought on it is they're a great tool in your toolbox or utility belt, just like Batman. And it's a great idea to think about it in that way. It's not archaic. A lot of people think tax-free savings accounts are better, and we'll go over them too in another video. They're not nothing. Tax-free growth on investments is huge, and tax deductions on your money, on your income, is also great, especially in a climate like today. Yes, there's a little sticky tape about taking your money out, but if you prepare properly and plan properly, you can avoid them and use this to your best benefit. Now, I know this was a lot of info to take in. I hope it cleared up some confusion around RRSPs. If you have any questions or want to go more into detail, like I said earlier, on the first-time homebuyers plan or lifelong learning plan, let me know in the comments below. We can do a video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And thanks for watching, and here's to saving for a better future.